Greetings, 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 greetings. It is I, King Clifford Jefferson, a Senator Godfrey the Fifth Count of Anjou, the son of Folk, the ruler of Jerusalem. I am the reincarnation of King Edgar the Peaceful, which we know here at the Third Typical Church of England as Jesus Christ, or the Vicar of Christ, or Melchizedek. It is March 4th, 2025, which is equivalent to the Berber year 2975. I greet you in the name of my Queen, Sister Galveston from the House of Galveston. I greet you in the name of Archbishop Belmont from the House of Belmont. I greet you in the name of all officers on staff who are all trying to get overstanding of what it is that we are here and called to do. I greet you in the name of our predecessors. I greet you in the name of our successors. And I greet you in the name of our inheritors. This is a marvelous lesson that you do not want to miss. The title of this lecture is United States and United Kingdom Trade Relations in 2025. All are reserved for the English crown. Once again, United States and United Kingdom's trade relations in 2025. The English crown. All trade is reserved for the English crown. Not the crown of Ireland, not the crown of Scotland, but the English crown. This is what we will come to understand today. We are in a trying time based upon the trade wars that were initiated by the congressional cabinet of Donald Trump, as well as his officials who work on his behalf or under his authority. And the world is about to feel the wrath of these executive orders. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to hear from the head of state, Donald Trump. We're going to also hear from the head of state of Canada. And then you're going to hear from the head of state, i.e., the monarch yourself, King Clifford Jefferson. So without further ado, let's get started with this marvelous lecture that you do not want to miss. Greetings, Countess Walker. Greetings, uh, Brother McGarrett from the House of McGarrett. Glad you was able to join me this evening. I have a beautiful lecture reserved for you today, so please take it in stride. So let's get started. You can let me know if you can hear this lecture by giving me a thumbs up, as well as when I play the actual recordings. If you can hear them, please give me a thumbs up. For all those who are viewing this lecture, all are welcome, as well as post your comments in the chat, as well as the comment box, as well as like, share, subscribe, as well as any donation. Please send them to the English Third Temple Church of England or $ Clifford Jefferson L. Free and common soakers is needed. So with that, let's get started with this beautiful lesson. Thank you, Brother McGarrett. This lesson is dedicated to Brother Milligan from the House of Milligan, as well as I hope that Chancery Judge Lisa Vignulo is watching, because this will help you in further understanding the flight as well as the fight that we are initiating here at the English Church of England. Okay? And we're looking for your assistance on our behalf based upon today's lesson, because this is definitely breaking news. Once again, this is definitely breaking news. First, let's look at the United States and the United Kingdom trade relations. Okay, let's first look at that real quick. United Kingdom and United States relations. The two constituent parties. Thank you, Countess Walker. The belligerents are the United Kingdom and the United States. Okay? The belligerents are United Kingdom and United States, represented by their heads of state. And the United States is called the president, and UK is called the prime minister. Okay? So there you see them on my right side if you're on the computer, or would be right in front of you if you're on the phone. But as you can see, Keir Starmer is the prime minister for the United Kingdom, and Donald Trump is the United States president for the United States of America. Very, very, very important to understand that in regards to understanding United States, United Kingdom's trade relations. This is a problem that we're having today. Okay? This is the problem that we are having today, and the world is about to feel the effects of it. United Kingdom and United States relations. Relations between the United Kingdom and the United States have ranged from military opposition to close allyship since 1776. Once again, the relations between the United Kingdom and the United States have ranged from military opposition to close allyship since 1776. The 13 colonies succeeded from the Kingdom of Great Britain and declared their independence in 1776, fighting a successful revolutionary war. That's very important for us to understand, especially dealing with the relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States, okay? That their allyship as well as their opposition goes all the way back to 1776. 1776 in regards to the 13 colonies and the Kingdom of Great Britain, now called the United Kingdom. Uh, at that time, which was the opposition, due to the fact that the United States had declared independence from Great Britain, now called the United Kingdom, in 1776, and it came to fruition in 1783 with the Treaty of Paris. Okay, so we must comprehend that in regards to understanding United Kingdom and United States relations. Okay, especially when we're talking about trade. All right, especially when we're talking about trade. In the 21st century, Britain affirmed its relationship with the United States as its most important bilateral partnership in the current British foreign policy. Okay? And in the American foreign policy also affirmed its relationship with Britain as its most important relationship. As evidence as evidence is aligned political affairs, mutual cooperation in the area of trade, commerce, finances, technology, academics, as well as the arts and sciences, the sharing of government and military intelligence, and joint combat operations and peacekeeping missions carried out between the United States Armed Forces and the British Armed Forces. Okay, as of January 2015, United Kingdom was the fifth largest United States trading partner in terms of exports. Okay, it didn't say imports; it says exports, and the seventh in the terms of imports of goods. In long-term perspective, the historian Paul Johnson has called the United Kingdom and the United States relation the cornerstone of the modern liberal democratic world order. I repeat, the cornerstone of the modern liberal democratic new world order. Okay? It's right there for you. Okay? So the United States and United Kingdom relations goes all the way back to 1776. Okay? 1776. 1776. This involves the understanding of their charter, which goes back to the Constitution of 1776. And the only Constitution we can use to validate that contract is New Jersey's Constitution of 1776. Okay, so let's go there. New Jersey's Department of State. Greetings, Brother McGarrett. Oh, yeah, I already said greetings to you. Okay. Do we have two McGarrels here tonight? Marion, Audrey McGarrell, and then, oh, no, that's the same one. Same one. I guess you're using a different um, chat line. One has a purple with an M in it, then I have you with the face. Okay, I just want to make sure we didn't have two McGarrels here. All right, so let's continue. Article 23 of New Jersey's Constitution. Article 23 and Article 22 of New Jersey's Constitution. Okay, that's cool. Just wanted to make sure. All right. I want y'all to read it for yourself so there are no excuses. The common law of England, as well as so much of the statute law, has been heretofore practiced in this colony, shall still remain in force until they shall be altered by the future law of the legislator. Such parts only accepted as are repugnant to the rights and privileges contained in this charter, and that the estimable rights of a trial and jury should remain confirmed as part of the law of this colony without repeal forever. 23rd, that every person who should be elected as aforesaid to a member of the Legislative Council or House of Assembly shall, previous to his taking his seat of council or assembly, take the following oath of affirmation. I do solemnly declare that as a member of the Legislative Council or Assembly, as the case may be, of a colony of New Jersey, I will not assent to any law, vote, or proceeding which shall appear to me injurious to the public welfare of the said colony, nor that shall annul or repeal that part of the third section in the charter of this colony which establishes that elections of members in the Legislative Council and Assembly shall be annual, nor that part of the 22nd section in said charter respecting the trial by jury, nor that annul, repeal, or alter any part of the 18th or 19th section of the same. And any person or person who should be elected as aforesaid is hereby empowered to administer that said members of that said oath of affirmation. Provided always and in its true intent and meaning of this Congress, the same Congress we have today, that if the reconciliation between Great Britain, now called the United Kingdom, and these colonies, i.e., 13 colonies, as well as all the colonies that are now called states, which means the 50 states, shall take place, and that the latter, i.e., the colonies now called states, be taken under the protection and government of the Crown of Great Britain, now called the United Kingdom, which consists of England, Ireland, and Scotland. This charter should be null and void, otherwise to remain firm and inviolable. This is the record, brothers and sisters. Okay? So they're talking about the Crown of Great Britain and New Jersey and the Charter of New Jersey validating and confirming to the contractual agreements of the reconciliation of Great Britain that charter for New Jersey, i.e., all three constitutions are null and void. Okay? With that being said, let's go to New Jersey's constitution, body of politics. Okay? Because this involves all your presidents, all right? All your governors, all your mayors. the American Revolution. So the same thing you just read on New Jersey's website in regard to the Constitution of 1776 reconciliation with the Crown, being that there was a temporary departure from the Crown, which means that there was what we call a provisionary government set up at this particular time. So it says in 1776, the first Constitution of New Jersey was drafted. Written during the American Revolution, it created a basic framework for the state government and allow all inhabitants of this colony of full age who are worth 50 pounds proclamation money to vote. That included blacks, spinsters, and widows, married women who could not own property under the common law. That constitution declared itself temporary and void if there was a reconciliation with Great Britain. Once again, it was declared to be void if there was a reconciliation of Great Britain. All right? Very important. Straight out, as well as straight and direct. All right, very important. Okay, that's the politics of New Jersey. All right, so if we understand the politics of New Jersey, understand that it was temporary provisionary government, then we must go to what was there before that provisionary government was set up. Okay, that takes us to New Jersey's Provincial Council, which is called His Majesty's Council. Okay, or the Crown Council, okay? The Crown and Council. So let's visit that in regards to United States and United Kingdom relations involving trade, because the first trade war resulted or started with the Anglo and Dutch wars. Yes, that's when the first trade wars took place involving the people acting under the auspices as English, but they were in fact Scottish. That goes back into what we call the English Civil War. Okay, starting with Charles I. Okay, with the surrender of Amsterdam and the restoration of the Stuarts. Okay, 1660, 1660, and 1664. Very important to understand those dates. But prior to, but subsequent to that, His Majesty's Council for the province of New Jersey was the upper house of the New Jersey Legislative under the colonial rule until it was replaced by New Jersey Legislative Council under New Jersey's Constitution of 1776. And we read the language of that under Article 22 and Article 23, that if there was ever a reconciliation between Great Britain, now called the United Kingdom, that charter will be null and void. Okay. As we can see here, there were instructions left from the monarch at that particular time, who was a result of the unification of the Treaty of Union in 1707, when the Great Britain became a unification between England, Ireland, and Scotland. Okay, separate monarchs, though, separate parliaments, but yet they were occupying the English throne, i.e., the crown. It says the history, the Provincial Council was established in 1702, way before 1776, upon the surrender by the proprietors of East Jersey and those of West Jersey of the right of government to Queen Anne. Anne's government united the two colonies as the province of New Jersey, a royal colony, establishing a new system of government. The instructions from the Queen Anne to Viscount Cornbury, the first royal governor of New Jersey, outlined a fusion of power system which allowed for an overlap of the executive, legislative, and judicial authority, which provided for a bicameral legislative consisting of a council and a general assembly. That means that this was His Majesty's Council under the Crown. You see the authority, as Countess Walker said, the authority was indefinite. Okay, under the Interior Court, which means that it moved from one territory to another territory because it was an itinerant court. We must understand that, and the Crown was indefinite. Okay, the only thing missing was the Crown under this understanding from its ecclesiastical polity. Okay, the ecclesiastical polity means the head of government, which goes back into what we call the corporation soul. Okay, the ecclesiastical polity is known as the mystical body of Christ. The mystical body of Christ. Okay, we represent the mystical body of Christ. Christ and His church. Okay, I at the head and you as the body. Okay, Very important. Ecclesiastical polity is a government of a church. There are local congregational forms of organization as well as denominational. A church polity may describe its ministerial offices or the authority structure between churches. Polity relates closely to ecclesiology and theology study of the church. Okay? Very important for us to understand that because in the science of it, it denotes to what they call the mystical body of Christ. Once again, the mystical body of Christ. Right? Let's go here. Uh, Body of politics. Just refreshing our minds of what we already know before I go on. Greetings, Countess Cersei. Glad you were able to join us. Body of politics. The body of politics is a polity. So if the body of politics is a polity and we are ecclesiastical polity, that means that our church is in fact a government. Just like the city, rim, or a state or municipality, it's considered metaphorically as a physical body. Okay? Historically, the sovereign is typically portrayed as the body head, and the analogy may also be extended to other anatomical parts as its political readings of Aesop's fable of the belly and its member. The image originated in ancient Greek philosophy beginning in the 6th century BC and was later extended to Roman philosophy. But this is not where we take our cue from, okay? We don't take our cue from this. Following the high and late medieval revival of the Byzantine Corpus Juris and later Europe, the body of politics took on a jurisprudential significance by being identified with the legal theory of the corporation. Very important. Gaining salience in political thought polity from the 13th century on. In English law, the image of the body politic developed into the theory of the king's two bodies as the crown as the corporation soul. Once again, the crown as a corporation soul. So we understand when we're dealing with the relationship uh, of the United States and the United Kingdom dealing with trade, we understand that that goes back to 1776. Once again, 1776. So whoever's sitting at the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, whoever's sitting at the head of the President of the United States are unified by way of allyship based upon their long, outstanding, unified relation. Okay. It's called a special relationship. Okay. It's very important for you to understand that. They call it the New World Order. Okay? The New World Order. Don't get it twisted. They are not playing around. Okay? So, with that in mind, let's look at the United Kingdom. Okay? So if you understand United Kingdom and United States relations goes back to 1776, so let's look at the United Kingdom because we know the foundation for the United States. We know that those, in fact, were at one time called colonies under the jurisdiction of the United Kingdom, now called United Kingdom, prior to it being called Great Britain. Okay? Very important for us to understand that. So let's go to that. United Kingdom. United Kingdom. And the reason why we're learning about this is because it affects us here. Okay? Whatever going on in the United Kingdom affects us here. Whatever going on in the United States affects us here. We're not in the United Kingdom, but yet we have a history that goes back to what they call the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Okay? You notice the two words they use, the two letters they use to denote the United Kingdom and United States is US and UK. The only thing they changed it was the S and the K. Okay? But the U is still the same. Okay? The U is still the same. United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, commonly known as the United Kingdom or Britain, is a country in northwestern Europe off the coast of the continental mainland. Okay? Off the continental mainland. Very, very important for us to understand that. Let's get into the history. Okay? The UK has been inhabited continuously since the Neolithic. In AD 43, the Roman conquest of Britain began. The Roman departure was followed by the Anglo-Saxon settlements. Let's get into what they call the Heptarchy, okay? When the unification of all the kingdoms in what we call Great Britain was unified by Alfred the Great, known as the Barbarian Kingdoms, okay? In 886. All right, so the Anglo-Saxon settlements was followed by the Norman conquest in 1066. Prior to 1066 and 1065, all the way back, those people who inhabited those territories were known as Anglo-Saxon Berbers. Okay, I didn't say that. That's what the 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica said. Okay, so it stated that the UK had been inhabited continuously since the Neolithic. And in AD 43, when the Roman conquest of Britain began, the Roman departure was followed by the Anglo-Saxon settlement. In 1066, the Normans conquered England. With the end of the War of the Roses, the English state stabilized and began to grow in power, resulted by the 16th century of the annexation of Wales and the establishment of the British Empire. Over the course of the 17th century, the role of the British monarchy was reduced, particularly as a result of the English Civil War. Important time. The English Civil War. In 1707, the Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Scotland united under the Treaty of Union to create the Kingdom of Great Britain. In the Gregorian era, the office of the Prime Minister became established. Did you hear that? In the Gregorian era, the office of the Prime Minister became established. All right, prior to that, it wasn't. The Act of Union in 1800 incorporated the Kingdom of Ireland to create the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland in 1801. Most of Ireland succeeded from the UK in 1922 as the Irish Free State, and the Royal and Parliamentary Titles Act of 1927 created the present United Kingdom that you have now. Okay? There you have it. Let's continue on with this marvelous lesson. So if you look in the box, all right, Laws of Wales Act, Union of the Crowns, Treaty of Unions, Acts of Unions, Acts of Union of Great Britain, and the Irish Free State. You got all the dates lined up for you. I have to look into that, Brother McGarrell. I never heard that before, but I'll definitely look into that. All right. So we look at the United Kingdom and said the United Kingdom, in regards to the history, okay, the UK was inhabited since the Neolithic time. It was invaded by the Romans when they conquered Great Britain as well. And then when the Romans departed, Anglo-Saxon tribes started to settle and became unified in 886, known as barbarian tribes, okay, which was the noble title. And then in 1066, the territory was invaded again by the Normans, which were the Frankish Vikings, all right? And as a result of that, it had to be restored by the Plantagenet kings, which took us into the position of what we call the War of the Roses, okay? The War of the Roses, and that brings you to the time what we call Richard III, okay? Richard III. We'll be talking about him again a little later, but let's get on with the lesson, all right? Now let's look at the history of the Constitution of the United Kingdom. Very important. The history and Constitution of the United Kingdom. Okay? Very important. All right? We got to look past United Kingdom. We got to look past Great Britain. We got to look past what was going on at the time of the Plantagenet dynasty and go all the way back to the 9th century at the time when the Anglo-Saxon kingdom was unified at the House of Wessex by Alfred the Great, okay, known as the House of Wessex, okay, very important. So it said in the 9th and 10th century, the various Anglo-Saxon kingdoms were consolidated under the rule of the House of Wessex into a single kingdom of England. Before the unification of England, Ireland, and Scotland, it was just England, Okay? Kings had extensive power to make law, mint coins, levy taxes, okay? Raise armies, regulate trade. This is the conversation we have today, and determine foreign policy, i.e., international diplomacy. The current British coronation services largely date back to our Jesus Christ, King Edgar the Peaceful, which I'm the reincarnation of, brothers and sisters, and subsequent monarchs after them swore coronation to protect what church? The English church, and defend their people against enemies and to administer justice. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all do not hear me. You hear me with this next paragraph. The king was advised by a group of counselors or wise men called Witten, composed of lords and church leaders. So if you ain't in the church, then you can't be a lord and you can't be a leader, okay? The Witten was consulted when creating laws and was the highest court in the land where the king gave final judgment in person. And in times of crisis or when a king was too young to rule, the Witten may have assumed greater role over the government, okay? Over the government. So we're talking before the United Kingdom. When you get to the United Kingdom, their constitution is what we call the English Bill of Rights, okay? When our ancestors from the Plantagenet Crown had it, it was called the Clarendon Constitution, okay? Which established the Assize Clarendon Courts, okay? Where the Constitution was upheld as a result of the anarchy, which was the breakdown and the civil government of the kings of England, which was under the stewardship of the Plantagenet kings, okay? We must understand what's going on. All right, all involving the history of the Constitution of the United Kingdom. Okay, we see it. While the capital existed at Winchester's, where the royal treasury was located, the king and his itinerant court, all right, a moving court, moved constantly throughout the kingdom. Priests attached to the king's chapel acted as royal secretaries, writing letters, charges, and other official documents. Under Edward the Confessor, okay, the last king of Wessex, the office of chancellor appears for the first time. Ragnabald, the first chancellor, kept the king's seal and oversaw the writings of charters and writs. The treasury properly developed into a permanent institution by the time of a Danish king, all right, King Canute, Canute the Great. All right, very, very important to see the transition of how our government, i.e., our ecclesiastical polity, ran. Okay, in all manners of life, especially in regards to trade, what we call export and import trade. Okay, very important. Let's see. All right. So if this was created by Britain, okay, and we know what the 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica says that those wise men under the government known as Witten or Wittemont were Berbers. 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica clearly points to the fact that they were in fact Berbers, okay? Right here. And their law or constitution was the Magna Carta, okay? The Magna Carta. Very, very, very important for you to understand that. When we go back to the Constitution of the United Kingdom, you're going to see the Magna Carta in there. Let's see if I'm correct. All right, we're talking about the history of the Constitution of the United Kingdom. All right, we went from King Edward the Peaceful, right? We went right from King Edward the Peaceful, all right, which was part of what they call Wittenmont, okay? King Edward the Peaceful, who was part of Wittenmont, which was the representative for the English Church. King Edward the Peaceful, English Church, Witten, that goes back to the English Byzantine Reformation, okay? All right, then you bring it on down to who? Who else is the protector of it? Norman government, 1066, as they said, okay? All right? The Norman government in 1066, 1154. This came under the authority of the Plantagenet kings, okay? The Plantagenet kings, let's see. right here. Angevin government. Government in Normans and Angevin, England. Henry II, the son of Godfrey, the fifth kind of man, Jew, son of folk, ruler of Jerusalem, introduced the assize, which means the assize court, a new form of legislation that clarify or alteration customs by agreement between the king and his feudal tenants. Okay, the Assize Clarendon of 1166 assigned royal justices to general areas circuit courts to hear crown pleas. Juries of presentment identify suspects whose innocence or guilty was proven in a trial by ordeal. This is where your trial by jury come from. The Grand Assize in 1179 gave civil cases defendants the option of having the matter settled by a jury or 12 nights instead of trial by battle. In 1215, the same year the Magna Carta was signed, the Fourth Lateran Council forbade clergy participation in trial by ordeal and was replaced in England by the trial by jury. Okay? Very, very, very important. All right? Henry's legal reform marked the origin of the common law and improved the availability of royal justices. Petty assizes were procedures that allowed speedy resolutions of land disputes. These include novel decision, mort the ancestors, and Darien presentment. So as we can see, the history of the Constitution of the United Kingdom goes all the way back to the Neolithic times, as well as to the Plantagenet, Anglo-Saxon settlement, which was unified by Alfred the Great, on up to King Edward the Peaceful, and we know through King Edward the Peaceful, on down to Edward the Confessor, and then it came as a result of the Norman conquest of England down to the Plantagenet and Angevin dynasty, going back into what we call the cadet branches of the House and the Yorks due to what we call the War of the Roses. Once again, the War of the Roses. It's very, very, very important. So the Clarendon Constitution, or the size of Clarendon, is rooted in what they call the Establishment Clause. Okay? This is where they get it from. The First Amendment. This is where that comes from. In the United States, the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, together with the Amendment Free Exercise Clause, form the constitutional right of freedom of religion. Y'all better listen to your king. Okay? The clause was based on a number of precedents, including the Constitution of Clarendon. You hear that? The Constitution of Clarendon established the Assize of Clarendon, which were the courts of Erie, assize courts or circuit courts, okay, under the Constitution of Clarendon. Now, the Establishment Clause for the United States Constitution is rooted in precedents known as the Constitution of Clarendon, then the Bill of Rights of 1689, then the Constitution of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, okay, as well as the Articles of Confederations, okay, it's all right here for you. I'm not making this up, okay? I'm not making this up. So we must understand the UK and the United States trade relations supported by the authority that allowed them to do trade, i.e. your charter, okay? On an international scale, okay? We must understand that because somewhere down the line, somebody got it twisted, okay? That's why it's important to understand your birthright and go back to the original origin of your birthright, which was established by the crown. And we know the crown is a corporation soul. And the corporation soul is also a what? Corporation. Okay? The crown, the corporation soul is one and the same. It's the mystical body of Christ. Okay? The mystical body of Christ. Trade names. All right? Trade name or trading name or business name is a pseudonym. Okay? A pseudonym is a fictitious name. All right? So a trade name, trading name or business name is a pseudonym used by companies that do not operate under their registered company's name. Once again, if you're not registered with the ecclesiastical polity of the English Church, then you are doing business under a trade name, a trading name, or a business name, which is in fact a pseudonym. The term for this type of alternative name is fictitious business name. And when you got this fictitious business name or trading name or trade name, it had to be registered with that government, okay? Because it said registering the fictitious name with a relevant government body is often required. It's called a DBA, okay? This involves copyright, okay? Author's right, okay? This comes in what we call intellectual property rights, okay? We must understand that, all right? Who owns what? So in order for us to establish that, let's look at the legal concept of trade name. Using one or more fictitious business name does not create additional separate legal entities, as you all think. The distinction between a registered legal name and a fictitious business name or trade name is important because fictitious business names do not always identify the entity that is legally responsible. Okay? It does not always identify the entity that is legally responsible, i.e., the corporate fiction. Okay? The straw man. Okay? This is why in English common law, legal agreements such as contracts are normally made using registered legal names of the business, i.e., the original business. If it's not the original business, then there's another business registered with the government, which usually results in a fictitious name or a business name or a DBA name. If a corporation fails to consistently adhere to some important legal formalities, like using the registered legal name in contract, it may be subject to piercing of the corporate bill. Piercing of the corporate bill, meaning being able to be liable for the shareholders who allowed you to become what we call a subsidiary. Okay, a subsidiary. You better listen because it's about to come. Clarity about to come now. In English, trade names are generally treated as what? Proper nouns. Okay, a proper noun is that which identifies a single entity and is used to refer to that entity as distinguished from a common noun, which is a noun that refers to a class of entity and may be used when referring to entities of a specific class. Okay? Class versus individual. Okay? Class versus individual. Okay? So a legal agreement, such as a contract, are normally made using the registered legal name of the business. If a corporation fails to consistently adhere to such important legal formalities, like using its registered legal name in contract, it may be subject to piercing the corporate veil. So this is why in English trading business, we use our proper names under proper nouns for places, persons, places, or things. If everyone understand that, please give me a thumbs up in the chat line. Okay? Please give me a thumbs up in the chat line. All right. So with that, let's go here. Trade wars. Trade war. That's what we're talking about, right? United States, United States and UK trade relations in 2025. The English crown, all under the auspices of the English crown, because it's the English who's going to benefit as a result of this trade war. Okay, it is the English who are going to benefit as a result of this trade war. Okay, a trade war is an economic conflict often resulting from extreme protectionism in which states raise or create tariffs or other trade barriers against each other in response to a trade barrier created by the other party. Okay? All right? So we understand the definition of a trade war or a custom war. Okay? All right? We read the language, but have we ever really considered the trade war? When we go back to the trade war, we have to go back to the origins of the trade war. And the first recorded trade wars involving the English goes back to the English and Dutch wars. Okay. Trade wars could be escalated to full conflict between states as evidenced in the massacre of Bandinese after alleged violation of a new treaty. Okay, the first Anglo-Dutch War was caused by disputes over trade. The war began with the English attack on Dutch merchant shipping, but expanded to vast fleet action. The second Anglo-Dutch War was for control over the seas and trade routes, where England tried to end the Dutch domination of world trade during a period of intense European commercial rivalry. This also involved the slave trade, brothers and sisters. The fourth Anglo-Dutch, you got the third Anglo-Dutch War, and you got the fourth Anglo-Dutch War. So you got the first, second, third, and fourth Anglo-Dutch War, as well as a whole bunch of wars that subsequent to them. All right, that resulted in what we call trade. Okay, trade. We must understand what is being explained to you today. Okay, you must understand it. Anglo and Spanish Wars, Anglo and French Wars, Anglo and Dutch Wars, Opium Wars, Byzantine Bulgarian Wars. Okay, they go all the way back to the fifth Anglo 11th century. Okay, the Anglo and French War, all involving trade, international trade. Brothers and sisters, we must comprehend. All right, so with that, let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's get Trump's side of the story first on why he's causing trade. This comes to what we call the 2025 United States trade war with Canada and Mexico. Okay? The 2025 United States trade war with Canada and Mexico. Okay? This is very, very, very important for all of you to understand because you are going to be affected by it, whether you're in Canada, whether you're in Mexico, whether you're in Japan, whether you're in China. All these territories are going to be affected as a result of this trade war that was established by Trump. Donald Trump, an ally with the United Kingdom, okay, since 1776. Once again, since 1776. We must comprehend what's going on. So this trade war started by the United States involved the United States, Canada, and New Mexico and Mexico. Okay, United States, Canada, and Mexico. But they're now all the belligerents that are involved in this fiasco. Okay, I'm about to show you. Like, share, and subscribe. All right. So, United States, Canada, and Mexico are not the only belligerents in this fiasco. Okay? A trade war began between the United States and Canada and Mexico on February 1st, 2025, when the United States President Donald Trump signed orders imposing near universal tariffs on goods from two countries to take effect on February 4th. Okay? On February 4th. He's giving a speech on that tonight. The order called for 25% tariffs on all exports from Mexico and all Canadian exports except for oil and energy, which would be taxed at 10%. Trump said the goal was to stop both illegal immigration to the United States and the supply of fentanyl across the borders of Canada and Mexico and to reduce the United States trade deficit. This goes into what we call the national deficit. Okay? This involves the national deficit. Who are they in debt to? All right. If the national debt is in the trillions, all right, and there's a trade war going on, all right, that the United States is putting on the belligerents, Canada and Mexico, as well as China, Japan, all right, they're coming, okay? They are coming, all right? We're going to see, as well as Netherlands. They are all coming because all of them are benefiting off the exports and the services coming from the United States, okay? How many of y'all know that? Okay, before I show you the evidence, let's look at what Donald Trump has to say about it. They claim it's to stop illegal immigration, though, and fentanyl and the trade deficit. Okay, but let's see for ourselves. If everyone can hear this, please give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear the voice.
Mexico or for Canada, they go into effect tomorrow. And China also had an additional 10, so it's 10 plus 10.
20% on China now. How high are you willing to go against China?
Well, I can't say it.
美方执意 if the U.S. has ulterior motives and insists on fighting a tariff war, trade war, or any other war, China will respond in kind.
Donald Trump has struck again. Global stock markets are in turmoil because the US president is escalating his trade war. Starting today, imports from Mexico, Canada, and China will face higher taxes in the United States. Canada and China have hit back with retaliatory tariffs. Mexico, too, plans to counter the US. But for the wider global economy, Trump's trade war spells chaos. Although, of course, Trump does not see it in that way. He believes that he's punishing those who took advantage of America.
It's going to be very costly for people to take advantage of this country.
I can't help that.
They come in and steal our money and steal our jobs and take our factories and take our businesses and expect not to be punished.
I want to buy your house. I can pay you a house no matter what condition it's in. If you need to sell your house for...
And they're being punished by tariffs.
If you want to sell in America, build in America. That is the message from President Donald Trump. And these are the taxes that he has imposed. Goods from Canada and Mexico face 25% tariff, 25% for Canada and Mexico. Chinese imports will be taxed at 20%. And these tariffs are already in effect. They're already in place. So for all imports from these three countries, Mexico, Canada, and China, higher taxes already apply. Now let's tell you about the goods that will be impacted. More than 40% of all US imports, that's 40%, that's roughly $1.5 trillion worth of goods. These are products that America imports every year, involving nearly all sectors of the US economy, from retail to the restaurant business, to car manufacturing, consumer electronics, even agricultural products. Trump's tariffs are likely to hit everyone and everywhere. So how can they be avoided? According to Donald Trump, there is only one way out. Build your factories in America. Commit to more investment in the US. During his address yesterday, Trump targeted both Mexico and Canada on this.
Just say this to people in Canada or Mexico: if they're going to build car plants, the people that are doing them are much better off building here, because we have the market. We're the market where they sell the most.
Remember, Trump has tried to punish Mexico and Canada before. He did it last month, imposed these same tariffs, but then they struck last-minute deals and the crisis was averted. This time, though, there were no negotiations. President Trump simply announced the new taxes and gave no time to US allies to reason with him. So now they're responding in kind. Canada was the first to impose retaliatory tariffs.
To be clear, if Trump is imposing tariffs, we're ready. We are ready with $155 billion worth of tariffs, and we're ready with the first tranche of tariffs, which is $30 billion, which is already known.
A short while back, we
Okay.
heard from Mexico as well. Just like Canada, they plan to counter Trump tariffs with retaliatory taxes. And China is doing the same thing. Beijing has imposed countermeasures. It is targeting a range of American imports, from agriculture to food products. China plans to levy a 15% tariff on them. And it may not stop there. China could also raise these taxes or target more American imports. It has declared that it is prepared to fight back.
We are willing to resolve international concerns through dialogue and consultation with the US on the basis of mutual respect, equality, and reciprocity. However, we will never accept pressure or threats and will firmly safeguard our national sovereignty, security, and development interests.
So Trump is ramping up pressure. Mexico, Canada, and China are countering with tit-for-tat moves. There is no room for doubt. Trump's America is waging a full-blown trade war, that too on multiple fronts. Trump supporters back him, of course. They see this as a tough but necessary step to create jobs. But Trump's policies will strain
Okay, to create jobs.
too.
Let's stop
US
that.
tariffs are at their highest since 1943.
Okay, let's stop that. Let's hear it from Canada's point of view.
Coming in, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau speaking right now after the U.S. left Canada with 25% tariff.
So today, the United States launched a trade war against Canada, their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense. Canadians are reasonable and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight. Not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake. At the moment, the US tariffs came into effect in the early hours of this morning, and so did the Canadian response. Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods, starting with tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods immediately, and tariffs on the remaining $125 billion of American products in 21 days' time. Should these tariffs not cease, we are in active and ongoing discussions with provinces and territories to pursue several non-tariff measures, measures which will demonstrate that there are no winners in a trade war. Now, just like I did a month ago, I want to speak first directly to the American people. We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this.
Watch what castor oil does to your liver. Even though it sounds like one of those old timey kind of remedies, castor oil is actually awesome.
To you. As of this morning, markets are down and inflation is set to rise dramatically all across your country. Your government has chosen to put American jobs at risk, at the thousands of workplaces that succeed because of materials from Canada or because of consumers in Canada, or both. They've chosen to raise costs for American consumers on everyday essential items like groceries and gas, on major purchases like cars and homes, and everything in between. They've chosen to harm American national security, impeding access to the abundant critical minerals, energy, building materials, and fertilizers that we have and that the United States needs to grow and prosper. They've chosen to launch a trade war that will, first and foremost, harm American families. They've chosen to sabotage their own agenda that was supposed to usher in a new golden age for the United States. And they've chosen to undermine the incredible work we've done together to tackle the scourge that is fentanyl, a drug that must be wiped from the face of the earth. So on that point, let me be crystal clear. There is absolutely no justification or need whatsoever for these tariffs today. Now, the legal pretext your government is using to bring in these tariffs is that Canada is apparently unwilling to help in the fight against illegal fentanyl. Well, that is totally false. Let's look at the facts. Our border is already safe and secure. Far less than 1% of fentanyl flows and less than 1% of illegal crossings into the United States comes from Canada. But we acted because we know we can always do better. We responded to concerns, including from the president, by implementing an ambitious $1.3 billion border plan. A border plan that includes generational investments in new AI and imaging tools to stop the flow of fentanyl in its tracks, stronger coordination and information sharing with American agencies,
I heard
along
enough.
with the deployment of drones, helicopters, and additional personnel to keep our borders secure.
I heard enough. So all this trade war, as we just heard from Prime Minister of Canada and United States President Donald Trump, is a result of immigration and fentanyl. This is what they're saying. This is the purpose for the trade war, because of immigration and fentanyl. We know that's a lie, because the United Kingdom and United States relations go all the way back to 1776. Okay, from 1776. Okay, and we understand that United Kingdom is Great Britain. Okay, Great Britain is England, Ireland, and Scotland. And Canada is a product of Scotland and Ireland. Okay, we must understand our illustrious history. Okay, because majority of you have forgotten, and this is a result of the wealth that has been raked from this land. Okay, and all of the belligerents have a hand in it. Donald Trump, Judea, Mexico, China, Japan, Netherlands, all these people are a direct result of why we have a national trade deficit. Okay? But it's about to stop. It's about to stop. And it's going to benefit the English heirs and successors. All right? Very, very important for us to understand this, okay? Because what is a subsidiary? Everybody heard the Humpty Dumpty story? Humpty Dumpty. Let's talk about that real quick. Humpty Dumpty. A nursery rhyme, okay? But just look at the meaning of the nursery rhyme, okay? The meaning of the nursery rhyme. It says, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Fourscore men and fourscore more could not make Humpty Dumpty where he was before. There's another one saying, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. 30 men and 30 more could not place Humpty Dumpty as he was before. Okay? So what is Humpty Dumpty? Okay? And who is Humpty Dumpty is what we want to find out. Okay? All right, here's another one. Humpty Dumpty sitting upon the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses, all the king's men could not put Humpty Dumpty together again. So all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again, and that's why he fell off the wall. Okay? That's why he had a great fall. What is the meaning of this nursery rhyme? Okay? Let's see. We understand that the United Kingdom, all right? United Kingdom, we talking about trade with the United States and United Kingdom, right? United Kingdom. United Kingdom has been inhabited continuously since the Neolithic. In AD 43, the Roman conquest of Britain began. Then the Romans' departure was followed by the Anglo-Saxon settlement. And in 1066, the Normans conquered England. With the end of the War of the Roses, the English state stabilized and began to grow in power, resulted by in the 6th century in the annexation of Wales and the establishment of the British Empire. Very, very important keys to understand, because we're going back into what we call, what was I at? Humpty Dumpty. Okay, the meaning of Humpty Dumpty. All right, the meaning of Humpty Dumpty. The rhyme does not explicitly state that the subject is in regards to an egg. All right, we know an egg is an oval shape. This is where the word oval office comes from. Okay, very important. Possibly because it may have been originally posed as a riddle. We know riddles need to be solved. Okay, riddles need to be solved, and the rhyme of Humpty Dumpty, as we see here, was a riddle. There are also various theories of the original Humpty Dumpty. One advanced by Catherine Eales Thomas in 1930 and adopted by Robert Ripley posits that Humpty Dumpty is King Richard III of England, depicted as the hunchback in Tudor's history, particularly in Shakespeare play, and who was defeated despite his armies at Bosworth Field in 1485. Okay, this is a war between the Yorks and the Lancasters. Okay, so Humpty Dumpty was in regards to King Richard III of England. Okay, and Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king horses and all the king men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. That meant that the king was removed. When the king is removed, the kingdom will fall. Okay? The kingdom, when the kingdom fall, is a result of the king being removed, and this is what we call an interregnum. Okay? You call it a republic, we call it an interregnum. Okay? What else does it mean? Professor David Dalby suggests in Oxford Magazine in 16th of February 1956 that Humpty Dumpty was a torso siege machine. Siege machines were those machines used in what we call the times of warfare between the Vikings when they was trying to invade or or break into what we call castles. Okay, as you can see, they have a type of battering ram, which was a type of siege machine. Not just that, but when you see the monarchs sitting, they're always sitting like an egg shape. Okay, very important. Well said, Countess Cersei. All right. So the torso was a siege engine and armored frame used unsuccessful to approach the wall of parliamentary held city of Gloucester in 1643 during the siege of Gloucester and the English Civil War. So the Humpty Dumpty made reference to one King Richard III, okay, and also Charles the First, because Charles the First was one who took place in the siege of Gloucester and took on the identity of what we call the Duke of Gloucester. Okay. Once again, the siege of Gloucester was a part of the English Civil War when Charles I invaded Gloucester when it was under the Dukes of Gloucester, going back to Richard III. Okay, who was also known as Humpty the Dumpty. The Humpty Dumpty could never be put together because all the kings that are sitting down from Henry III were never rightfully to be king as a result of the conflict surrounding the inheritance of the throne, okay, or the English throne, which is under what we call primogeniture, agnatic succession, okay? Very, very, very important. So we understand Humpty Dumpty made reference to Richard III, and Humpty Dumpty made reference to a siege machine used in the siege of Gloucester in the English Civil War, okay? So who is Richard III? Okay? Who is Richard III? Let's look at it. Richard III was also known as Earl of Marches. Earl of Marches started by Roger Mortimer, the first Earl of Marches. Okay? We'll talk about that another day. All right? Right here. Richard was created Duke of Gloucester in 1461 after ascension to the throne of his older brother, Edward IV. This was during a period known as what? The War of the Roses. When we looked up the United Kingdom, it told you that the history of the United Kingdom involved a time and era that involved the War of the Roses. We know that Charles I, through the English Civil War, invaded Gloucester, and Gloucester was under the Dukes of Gloucester when Richard III was a duke. Okay, it says it right here. All right. Richard was created Duke of Gloucester in 1461 after the ascension to the throne of his older brother, Edward IV. This was during the period of what we call the War of the Roses. Why is this important? Let's see. Where is it at? Oh, yeah. Let me go back here. So Richard III was Duke of Gloucester. When we go back to Humpty Dumpty, right? We go back to the siege of Gloucester, okay? Because Richard III was the Duke of Gloucester, but then there was a siege of Gloucester at the time of what we call the English Civil War. So what is the siege of Gloucester? Let's check that out. Right here. Let you know what you're talking about. The siege of Gloucester took place between the 10th August and the 5th of September in 1643 during the First English Civil War. It was a part of the Royalist campaign led by King Charles I to take control of the Severn Valley from the Parliamentarians. Following the costly storming of Bristol on the 26th of July, Charles invested Gloucester in the hope that a show of force would prompt it to surrender quickly and without bloodshed. When the city, under the governorship of Lieutenant Colonel Edward Massey, refused, the Royalists attempted to bombard it to submission. Okay? So we see that the siege of Gloucester was done by Charles I at the time of the English Civil War when it was under the authority of Duke of Gloucester's Edward III. And Edward III was from the House of York, a cadet branch of the Plantagenet crown. Okay? Very, very, very important for us to understand that. All right? Very important for us to understand that. All right? So where I want to go now. Let's see here. Okay, so we see the history of the United Kingdom, okay? And we see that the history of the United Kingdom and the United States goes back to 1776. We know the United Kingdom was known as Great Britain. Great Britain unified in 1707 with England, Ireland, and Scotland, which was predated by the Anglo-Saxon kings, which were the kings of Wessex. So let's get into the United Kingdom in regards to trade, the trade war. What's going on today, it was a result of the trade wars that going back to the Anglo-Saxon Dutch company, okay? Anglo-Dutch wars, okay, as they said, okay? Because we know that the Anglo and Dutch war was not the English fighting the war. It was those monarchs that were governing under the English throne, under the Stuart dynasty, which were allowed to have their successorship by way of the House of Tudors, which are parts of the House of Tudors, which was a cadet branch of the Lancaster branch, which was in conflict with the York branch during the time of the War of Roses, okay? During the time of the War of the Roses, okay? So it's very important to understand that if you are a subsidiary, what is a subsidiary corporation, okay? Let's get into that, all right? Subsidiary. Because a tariff is a tax. Societies are separate, distinct legal entities for the purpose of taxation, regulation, and liability. For this reason, they differ from divisions which are business fully integrated within the main company and not legally or otherwise distinct from it. In other words, a society can be sued separately from its parent, and its obligation would not normally be the obligation of its parents. However, listen, creditors of an insolvent subsidiary may be able to obtain judgment against the parent if they can pierce the corporate veil. We already talked about the corporate veil, when you can be able to be held liable for the shareholder who allowed you to become a subsidiary corporation, okay? And prove that the parent and subsidiary are a mere alter ego of one another. Thus, any copyright, trademark, and patent remains with the subsidiary until the parent shuts down the subsidiary. Once again, I repeat, thus, any copyright, trademark, or patent remains with the subsidiary until that parent shuts down the subsidiary, okay? Till that parent company shuts down that society. That being said, let's go here. Oh, y'all not listening. This is from the United States government. From the United States government department head. Y'all better pay attention. I always save the best for last. UK, New Jersey trade and investment. United States and UK have strong trade relationships worth more than $260 billion a year, and a total of $1 trillion invested in each other economies. This relationship plays a pivotal role in where New Jersey's economy and support thousands of jobs in this state. So not just the United States and UK, but also New Jersey. We just said that New Jersey was originally the crown, okay? It's called His Majesty's government in 1776, and it was indefinite. So how in the hell could you have two crowns? Okay, because the United Kingdom can't be the crown if New Jersey says it's the crown. Okay, here we see New Jersey and UK in the trade investment agreement. All right, going back to 1776. Okay, all right, going back to 1776, and it involves exports, not imports, but exports. Okay, it says here, New Jersey jobs, as Governor, Prime Minister of Canada said, that a lot of jobs will be affected as a result of the tariffs caused by Donald Trump, okay? In lieu of the UK relations, Canada relations, China relations, Mexico relations, as well as everybody else relations with what they call United States, okay? Very, very, very important. This one is alarming right here. 40,700 New Jerseyans are employed by UK subsidiaries in 2018. Did y'all hear that? 40,700 New Jerseyans are employed by UK subsidiaries in 2018. And we already said what subsidiary is. It's a company of a parent corporation. Okay? Very, very important. Value of exports to UK from New Jersey. The UK was second largest exports market for New Jersey in 2019. Total value of New Jersey's goods exports to UK was 2.4 billion. Total value of New Jersey services exports to the UK was 2.1 billion. Okay? So all this money, all these services are being taken from New Jersey. Okay? We're not even talking about all the states that make up the United States as dealing with goods and services and export, not import, not something coming in, but out. Okay? And we just heard them talking about raising tariffs against the United States. Okay? When the United States is bringing tariffs on other national countries when they don't even have the authority to do so. Why? Because it's all under the auspices of the United Kingdom, because they got a relationship going back to 1776. And before the United States ever existed, the UK was already existing. Okay? We must make sense of this. Okay? So if you don't honor your king, you are going to be in a world of trouble. All right? Everyone, if everyone's seen that and like that, please give me a thumbs up in the chat line as I come to the closing. Okay? So it says New Jerseyans are employed by UK subsidiaries in 2018. What is a New Jerseyan? Okay, and what is New Jerseyan? All right, because Jerseyans are the people who live in Jersey. Okay, Jersey are the people who live in Jersey. Okay, that means this is us. That means that's us. Jersey people, also referred to the Islanders, are an ethnic group and nation native to the island of Jersey and the Channel Island who share a common history, Norman ancestry, and culture. All right. There is no standard dominion of the Jersey people. However, common dominions include Jersey man or Jersey woman. Okay. Point and simple. Right here. Okay. Right here. Let's go to another Jerseyan. Let's see what they say about that, since we are all employed by subsidiary companies in the UK. Okay? And closer. English, etymology, Jersey. 1. Jerseyan or Jerseyans, a person from the island of Jersey. Or 2, a person from New Jersey, United States. Synonyms, Jerseyite, New Jerseyan, and New Jerseyites. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Adjective. 1, of relating to the island of Jersey, or 2, of or relating to New Jersey of the United States. So we are, in fact, the Jerseyans or the Jerseyites, okay? We must understand that we are the Israelites in New Jerusalem and what we call the Garden State, which is what? New Jersey, okay? We must comprehend that. Let's get some other sources to validate this in closing, all right? Check it out. In closing. So we just seen what the United Kingdom government said about New Jersey and New Jerseyans being subsidiary companies and a corporation that were granted by the king, i.e. not the English king, but those kings who were sitting on the English crowns de factoly, okay? We must understand this, all right? Like, share, subscribe. Donations are welcome. $sign Clifford Jefferson L or the Third English Church of England. Please make your way over there. How New Jersey economy benefits from international trade and investment. We just see what United Kingdom said about New Jersey's trade and investment. Let's see what New Jersey says about New Jersey's trade and investment with the UK. Okay? Very important. Overview. Matter of fact, let me go back here real quick. If you go to the top of the page, Content. Right here. Right here. New Jersey jobs supported by UK companies. You hear that? Value of exports, not imports, but exports to the UK from New Jersey. Sources. All right? Under the copyright of the Crown. Okay? Under the copyright of the Crown. So who is in fact the Crown? Okay? Because they claim it to be the Crown, and we know they ain't the Crown because the Crown is the corporation sold, which is the Crown in New Jersey. Okay? That was the first government set up here in New Jersey. Okay? Prior to the properties, prior to the United States colonies, prior to the United States. Okay, the Crown was ruling here, and the Crown was indefinite. So how in the hell could UK be acting under the authority and capacity as the Crown, under the authority of the Crown, dealing with trade under the copyright laws that deal with intellectual property? Because this is not your damn property. How I know? Let's prove it. New Jersey Trade. With more than 95% of the world's population and 80% of the world's purchasing power outside the United States, future economic growth and jobs for New Jersey and America increasingly depends on expanding United States trade and investment opportunities in a global marketplace. The following page features key facts and figures drawn from New Business Roundtable. Here, Knights of the Round Table, okay, King Arthur and his knights. Come on, y'all. United States government data and other data sources that demonstrate the benefit of an international trade and investment to economic growth and jobs in New Jersey. This is now left up to a 501c3 corporation now called Choose New Jersey. Okay? Now called Choose New Jersey. A 501c3 corporation was now created under Governor Murphy to go over to London to learn how to better assist in economic trade relations with the UK and the United States. Okay? This is what they're doing without the authority to do so. Okay? Because we know that now there's a war, right? Trade war going on, right? And Mexico, China, Japan, all right? Canada, all right? And we know the trade wars in Canada, we just heard from those representatives. So let's see who is also going to be affected by this trade war by the time it's over. Okay? Right here. In closing, like, share, subscribe, please. Show this to every brother and sister, every aunt and uncle, every neighbor, everyone you come in contact with. All right, in your personal life, in your community life, in your job, wherever it is, you need to show this information, because if you don't, y'all about to suffer. All right. New Jersey companies export throughout the world. You hear that? Just New Jersey's companies export throughout the world. In 2013, it's 2025 now. New Jersey companies sold their product in 214 international markets. Top export markets includes who? Canada, right? There's a trade war going on with Canada, right? Goods and exports going out of New Jersey, $6.5 billion. Services of exports, $2 billion. Okay? Japan, goods exports, $1.6 billion. Services and exports, $1.5 billion. Okay? United Kingdom. Right now, there's not a trade war with United Kingdom, but there's a trade war with Canada, there's a trade war with Japan. Okay? Parts of not Japan, but Mexico and China. Canada, Mexico, and China, there are trade wars going on right now, and it's about to hit the fan with Netherlands, it's about to hit the fan with Japan, as well as the UK, because they don't have the right to none of these trade under the English kingdom. Okay? Very, very, very important. It's a Cold War. It's not a hot war. It's a Cold War. That's why they use the term war. All right. So as you can see, the government of the United Kingdom, as well as the government of New Jersey, validates that the United States, all right, has called a trade war with Canada, Mexico, China, all right. It left out Netherlands. It left out United Kingdom, all right, because they go back to the Anglo and Dutch trade wars, okay? The Anglo and Dutch trade wars. We must understand who are the players in this mass offset, okay? We must understand that. So with that, we'll close that. Okay, so with that, we must understand how important it is that we take our place here at the English Church of England. Yes, New York, New Jersey was settled by the Netherlands, the Dutch. Okay, it was the surrender of Amsterdam when Charles II was restored. Okay, so we got the best remedy. Okay, as English people. Okay, you have to be registered with the parent company. If you're not registered with the parent company, then you are registered with the government, and 9 times out of 10, you are doing business under a fictitious name. Okay? A fictitious name. So please like, share, subscribe, pass this on to other platforms, pass it on to the churches, pass it on to people in your government, officials, and understand that what the Prime Minister was saying, what United States is saying, and what everybody else is going to be talking about in the incoming days, that a lot of people are going to suffer. But one people that will not be suffering is the English nation. All right? We will not be suffering because our remedy is yet or is almost upon us. Okay? It's almost upon us. Yes, you are registered with the parent company, Countess Walker. Yes, you are. All right. Are there any questions thus far in regards to this marvelous lecture? Are there any questions in regards to the trade war that's happening as we speak? If there's no questions, please give me a thumbs up in the chat line. Thank you, Brother McGarrett, for the donations as always. Your reward is with me, my brother. Your reward is with me. Once again, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, donate free and common soakage to the Third to English Church of England or $ Clifford Jefferson L, because your free and common soakage is needed. Okay? Right? Thank you very much. I apologize for missing the Sabbath day, but I'll make sure I'll be there at the next one. All right? Very important. Very, very important. Please go over this lesson, brothers and sisters, to understand that how much money that we are losing or just giving away as a nation, okay? As a nation of people known as Jerseyans, okay? Very important of how much money that we are giving away at the expense of our ignorance, okay? At the expense of our ignorance. So with that, crown debt. Yeah, I'm taking care of that, Countess Walker. I'm taking care of that. Crown debt. What about the debt to the crown? Yeah, that's that's a result of the reason why reversion of remandment is justified of the estate called crown land. Okay? Everyone is doing business on crown land, and crown land is entail. Intel land is personified by the monarch who makes it up, being inseparable from it. Okay? That's the language. So with that, I thank you all for being here tonight. Once again, like, share, subscribe. Please pass or take this information around the world. Okay? Because if you don't, the world will feel its effect. All right. So with that, I'm gonna greet you as I always gonna meet you, and that's in peace and love. Peace, my brothers and sisters.